G'day! Today in this video I'm having a look at the Asus VivoBook Flip 14. This particular one is model number TM420i. It's running a Ryzen 5 4700U, 8GB of RAM, Vega 7 graphics, and originally with a 512GB NVMe, but that has since been upgraded to a 1TB NVMe. I've owned this laptop now for around about 3 weeks. It was originally purchased second-hand off eBay for 900 Australian dollars, which at the time I believe was pretty darn good value. Being a 2-in-1 and also running a Ryzen 5 4700U, I instantly assumed it was going to be touchscreen with very decent battery life. And so far my assumption has been correct. The battery life on it have been usually averaging around 5 to 6 hours of everyday use. And the touchscreen, I find I'm using it more and more often, which it's almost becoming harder to revert back to a non-touchscreen model. And even though the laptop can flip a full 360, tablet mode isn't a function that I don't really foresee myself ever going to use. And on that subject, I also found a Asus stylus pen included with this laptop. I don't think it's something that I'm going to use personally, but I will cover this in a future video in a bit more depth. The display in this machine is a 14-inch IPS level panel running at 1920 by 1080 at 60 Hz. The viewing angles are perfectly acceptable. I haven't run this on a spider just yet, but I find the brightness a bit too low for use outside. The webcam on the Asus VivoBook, I wouldn't really want it to use it for streaming or if you were doing constant Zoom conference calls. Mainly just the quality of it I find a bit subpar, and it could definitely do it with some work. The keyboard itself I've been enjoying quite a lot. I find that the key spacing to be perfect, the distance the keys travel to be very good, and the backlight colours and the varying level of brightness to all be quite uniform with really no dim spots. Another thing I found with the keyboard is even though the home page up, page down and end are on the far right hand side, I still have no drama hitting the delete button or the backspace key, purely because they're up in the top right hand corner. And here's a quick demo of the sound of the keyboard itself. And lastly, just a quick overview of the varying brightness levels. The trackpad as well I found very responsive, with 2-finger scrolling left and right to be perfect. There is also a fingerprint scanner in the top right hand corner if you'd require that for login, and also there is an optional backlit calculator on some models. Sadly mine doesn't have this function. And looking at the machine from the back, we're working our way to the front. On the left hand side we have a Kensington lock, a USB 2.0 port, and the air vent for the APU. And then checking out the various I/O, we have the DC jack, HDMI, USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A and Type C, a combo head audio jack, a micro SD card reader, and the power button. And then flipping the machine over, I'm just going to point out the 2 locations of the speakers on this device, which are the lower sections to the front underneath, but with a slight slant that it's got, it does push the audio outwards more so than straight down, which is definitely handy. So while the machine's off, let's have a quick look inside. So we can see a Wi-Fi 6 card in the top left hand corner. Under the silver part we have a single SODIMM and NVMe M.2 slot, and we have a single copper heat pipe leading to a single fan for cooling. The battery in there is also 42 watt hours, which as I found is pretty good. So checking out the charger itself, it is a 45 watt charger. Disappointingly it does not do Type C, it's via the old DC barrel. This laptop does not support Type C charging whatsoever. Comparing it here to a Lenovo charger, it is considerably smaller and more compact. a huge disappointment that there's no Type-C charging. Now let's have a bit of a look at some 720p gaming. So first of all, I've just got Fortnite playing, and it's highly playable at low settings. Low settings at 720p. 1080 is still almost playable, not as smooth as I would like it to be. And GTA 5 is quite similar. So we'll have a link at the end for a whole bunch of other video game benchmarks on this machine. Overall, I found the Asus VivoBook to be a very well-rounded machine. Granted, it's not exceeding at one particular thing, but it ticks enough boxes that I'd definitely recommend this for a school student, a uni student, just someone wanting a general internet machine, and if you just wanted to play a couple of older video games. Overall, it's pretty good quality.